I see y'all out there. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So I did go back and grab a game from a title Tuesday, March 14th of this year. And this is Yangyi versus Wesley So. So, of course, all of my people coming from the Philippines, I will say Maraming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from China, I'm going to make my best attempt at this. Usually I'll say shishya for thank you. But I will say, let me take a look. Okay. Fei Chang Zhen Xia Ni. I tried my best at saying. I'm trying to say thank you very much. But man, if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look, see what we got for this game, homie. All right, so we got knight to f3. So it starts as the ready, but as you guys probably know, knight to f3 almost always transposes into some more major of an opening. We do see the move d5. We got d4. Knight goes to f6. So all very standard d4, d5 stuff. We do see c4, and we have the move e6. We got knight to c3, and then we have bishop to e7, and we are in the Queen's Gambit decline, 3 knights variation. So like I said, I mean, you can always start d4, d5, or even d4, knight f6, c4, e6, like, you know, just kind of, you know, there's many different ways to get to this exact position. So this is very well known. We do see bishop to f4, trying to get the bishop outside of the pawn chain. It's not the end of the world to go e3 and lock this bishop in. You know, generally you're going to try to push e4 at some point to free the bishop out, or you might fianchetto it, stuff like that. So it's not the end of the world, but you know, it generally is preferred to get the bishop outside the pawn chain and just kind of, you know, fix all of that from the jump. We do see castles by black. We got the move e3, and now we have gotten our nice little pawn chain with the bishop outside. We do see knight b to d7. We got the move a3. We see the move c6, and then we have the move h3. And it might look kind of strange. You're like, why did I go a3 and then h3? Well, of course, if you're going to be castling kingside, I mean, this creates a little bit of luft. This a3 move just prevents bishop to b4, but bishop to b4 could have been played way earlier. But the major reason why we see Yu Yangyi going all of these moves is he's desperately trying to postpone the development of his light squared bishop for the exact reason I'm about to tell you guys in a second. We see pawn taking c4 and then bishop taking c4. And something that you notice, I've talked about this in some of my recent videos, the bishop has not developed yet when pawn takes c4. So you are able as white to take the pawn on c4 in one fell swoop. It's not like absolutely like, you know, just the greatest, but, you know, it does allow you to save a tempo instead of, you know, going bishop to e2 or bishop to d3 and then pawn takes. So it kind of depends on, you know, what black really kind of wants to do. So it is ideal for white, though. We do see the move b5, backing this bishop up. You know, bishop to c4 is actually too good of a diagonal to be on. So we do see bishop to d3. We got a6. We do see the move knight to e4. And what you are thinking about if you are white is the fact that black actually has, for the moment, a half-open file leading to a backward pawn. So one of the goals that you would love to achieve, which black in this game actually doesn't allow white to do, is to try to stop this pawn from moving. If you can completely control the c5 square with something like rook to c1, you would be making it very, very hard for black to liberate their position, especially also because black would really love to go bishop to b7 and start to kind of take this diagonal over. At the moment, this pawn is really kind of in the way. So you see that both players are really focused on this one particular point. So we do actually see c5 just straight away. Just saying, bro, I understand that I need to try to get my bishop out. The c6 pawn is blocking my stuff, so I have to open things up just a little bit. So we actually see the novelty of the game now, and it is pawn taking c5. You know, it was okay to allow this capture here, but you do have to be worried about like forks if you decide to take back with the knight to not damage your structure. So that is why we see Yu Yangyi just say, hey man, I'm gonna go ahead and go this, and like I said, it's the novelty of the game. We do see knight taking c5, knight taking c5, bishop taking c5, and then we do get in our rook to c1. And at this point now, the c file is completely open, so now this rook is on a completely open file. And kind of behind the bishop a little bit, we might possibly see some bishop to c7, you know, so, you know, you're a little bit restricted if you're black as, you know, far as like where you're going to be moving. We are attacking this bishop as well. So we do see queen to e7, and the crazy thing about it is this move actually doesn't protect the bishop like you think it does. We actually see the move b4, and then we do see bishop going back to b6, and we have actually reached a position. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and try to guess what move Yangyi finds in this position, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So, I mean, I think that this is not like a super obvious move. If you understand the tactics behind it, then you will probably see this move. And you'll understand that this is basically just a free move. So what we actually see Yangyi do in this position is bishop to d6, which some of you might be looking at this and it might look kind of strange. Like, wait a minute, I'm just throwing my bishop away, right? Well, the thing that you need to understand with this situation is the queen absolutely cannot take on d6 because you are very more than happy to give up your bishop with h7 with check. And this does discover an attack on the queen. So after knight takes, queen takes d6, and this queen is oh so delicious. So look at this, man. I just ate. I'm good. I'm full. Yes, you don't want to go down that path. So after we see bishop to d6, you actually, unfortunately, have to allow the exchange to be lost. So the queen does go back to e8, which is what we see in the game. Bishop takes f8. We got queen taking f8, and then we do have castles by white. Now, white is definitely in a much better position. It's not like they're just completely won, but they have gotten an exchange for the price of a bishop. So that is, pretty ideal for white. We do see bishop to b7, like I said, getting that bishop on that diagonal. We do see queen up to e2. I mean, you don't absolutely have to make this move, but you do kind of want to avoid any rook to d8, and that would be pinning your bishop down. You kind of have a little bit of some problems because you might be looking at bishop takes f3, and then you can't take queen takes f3 because that's going to be dropping your bishop. So we just see Yangyi just sidestep all of that with queen to e2. We do see rook going over to e8, and it might look a little strange because you're like, man, what, shouldn't I put my rook on one of these files? Like, why am I doing this right here? Well, I mean, there's a very specific threat that you have with this move. You do see rook f to d1 and then the move e5, and it starts to become a little bit more clear, what black is wanting to do. They're basically dreaming, like, bro, let me just do e4. Like, I mean, let me fork your pieces. Let you lose the game. But, Yangyi is like, bro, there's not no forks around here, homie. So the bishop does go back to b1. And this is actually an important maneuver because after we see g6, we actually see bishop to a2. And look at this diagonal. This is ideally where you want this bishop at, especially like I'm telling you guys. I'm always talking about bishop. I'm always talking about f7 or f2. Like in a lot of the games that I've shown, f2 and f7 are always something that you have to be concerning yourself with. So when you're playing your own games, if you can never create a situation where you pressure the f7 point, of course, without making like random moves that you're just going to get backed up anyway. But if you can successfully put this bishop anywhere on this diagonal or anywhere on this diagonal, usually you have a pretty good target that you're looking at in f7 or f2. We do see the move h6, and then we do see the move queen to d3, which might look kind of strange because, like, wait a minute. Like, I'm just going to get forked, right? Well, you actually do get forked in this position. And it might be like, well, man, why don't I just go queen to d3? Like, I just forked my pieces. You were just saying earlier that there's going to be a fork right here. So why would I do this? Well, there's actually a very killer idea in this position, which is why you go queen to d3. In the actual game, we saw queen going to d6, which is what you guys saw in the thumbnail, kind of somewhat forking these pieces. So, I mean, you are wiggling out of the situation. And then bishop went back to d8, and then we did see knight to e5, and this is like really, really crazy good. But going back to what we saw. When you go queen to d3, there is a very killer idea in the position, and it is because this bishop right here is actually pinning this pawn down. So let's just put a random move on the board just to illustrate what I'm talking about. Let's just say, black goes a5, which they never would. But you do that, you actually are looking at queen taking g6, and this is check, like I said, because this pawn is pinned down. So that is definitely what you have initially threatened. You have a couple different ways that you can block it. So like I said, the way that Wesley So decides to block it is with e4, but you do have that queen to d6 move, forking those pieces, and everything is everything. So the bishop came back. We do see knight to e5. And like I said, white is finding positions. They're finding ideas and threats to maximize the pressure on this pawn. So you have the pressure absolutely at its maximum. You also have the ability, like I said before, because f7 is pinned, to just simply capture knight to g6 if you feel like it, and threaten the queen here. We do see queen taking d6. We got rook taking d6, and that knight on e5 isn't actually hanging, because if you take it, you're going to be looking at rook takes d8, and that is very crushing. So we do see king stepping down to g7, and then we actually see knight taking f7. And so you see this f7 pawn. It is actually in this position that Wesley So resigns the game. It might not be completely obvious why Wesley So resigns the game, because everything for the most part looks pretty even. You know, one of the issues that you have, the major issues that you have, is the fact that this bishop is actually super attacked. So you really kind of want to go, you know, bishop to e7, but then this rook is going to be coming here and you're attacking this bishop. And I mean, black has already given the exchange up already, so you really are not worried about, you know, re-giving the exchange. Also, you have some discoveries if the bishop comes here and then the rook comes here, like we'll just put that on the board. You know, you definitely have some discoveries after you capture back something like this. You are attacking way too many things. So in light of all of that, that is why Wesley So resigned the game. So going back to this position right here, there are just way too many threats in the position for you to really try to take care of. You know, you are down an entire pawn because f7 dropped. So literally, if you're at the beginning stage or you're all the way up to like these, you know, super GMs, f7 and f2 is always something that you should take under consideration. Of course, all my people in the Philippines, maraming salamat po sa nanonood ng aking mga video. Mabuting pagbati ingat lagi to you guys. Magandang umaga. It is, yeah, it's super duper early morning. It's not even 3 o'clock over there yet. I got in here early today, man. So I appreciate Aking Makai Bigan very much. And anybody who is coming from China, so ni hao, I will say ni hao. Maybe if I guess I'll say that. Yeah, I'm not really great in Chinese. I just know a few words in Chinese. So like shishi is what I would say, you know, to say thank you. We told Jian, I have like this little place that I go to up the road where I get sushi. And I'll say we told Jian, you know, when I'm leaving. So I appreciate everybody very much. What is it? Fan Dang? Fei Chang Zhan Xia Ni. Okay, I got it. All right, appreciate everybody very much for stopping by, and I'm gonna see you guys next time.